So I've been deeply fascinated by the idea of understanding and becoming oneself. There's a genuine appeal in reaching a level of understanding of who you are that, from that point you can now coast through life. It leaves me with the question of wondering if we'll be sitting with this tension until we reach that point in time. And if we are, then is there a way to shorten that process, to get to know ourselves faster? In the meantime, is there a way to decrease the tension while we're sitting with it? Is it even necessary to have that tension to begin with? Here's how I've been rediscovering myself. The process of knowing who you are happens throughout your life. In high school, I truly did not know who I was yet. I was really influenced by the people around me. And they were influencing me just by virtue of proximity. Because I went to the same school as them, in the same neighborhood, they now had this control and capacity to move my life in a certain trajectory. In varsity, however, I think things changed a little bit in that now I found myself with like-minded people. I found myself with individuals who had a similar headspace and interest and frame of reference, point of view, that allowed us to have a lot of common ground. In that, it allowed me to now see what I can do to find my own space. Because I'm in a consistent space with everybody else, I have an opportunity to find my own. And things have really started to stabilize. I'm not as influenced by the people around me as I used to be. I've slowly been able to integrate aspects of my life that feel more authentic to me. But how do I even know that? On what basis am I saying these things are authentic to me? What makes me who I am? I've been picturing this process of understanding as concentric circles, where the innermost circle is the most concrete and unchangeable aspects of who we are, and kind of floating out from that to the parts that are the most flexible. Starting at the center, moving out. The first thing is genes. There are aspects of our life that we came into this world with. We didn't choose our race, our height, didn't choose that random freckle at the back of your arm. Regardless of what we do, this is our starting point and is a part of our story. I only wanted to touch on this because while it can determine significant things like whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it can't determine how you choose to deal with the hand that you're dealt. Moving outwards, the next circle is core beliefs. Therapistaid.com defines core beliefs as the most central ideas about themselves, others, and the world around them. These beliefs act like a lens through which every experience and situation is seen through. And so because of this, many people can go through the same situation, but experience them very differently. And the interesting thing is, even if a core belief is incorrect, it defines so much of how we show up in the world. Harmful core beliefs can lead to negative thoughts, feelings, behaviors, while rational core beliefs can lead to balanced reactions. For example, core beliefs could be, I am helpless, or I am capable, I am unlovable, or I am desirable. Regardless of my accomplishments, I'm worthless. Or it could be, my worth is inestimable, regardless of my accomplishments. Unlike with genes, people aren't born with core beliefs. These are things that are learned, and you can learn something that's incorrect. Negative core beliefs, while they may not be true, they may feel completely true. These tend to be long-standing and rigid. However, through therapy, conversations, introspection, these things can be changed. Next up is core values. These are guiding principles that determine your behavior. Now, I'm not here to judge or criticize, but I do believe that there are some toxic values, such as control, status, power, appearance. These are things that I feel could bring some harm. There are values that I think are healthier, like vulnerability, integrity, generosity, family. Now, it's easy to say what our values are, but the weight of our values is revealed in the way we behave day to day. That takes us to our last circle, interests and behaviors. Over time, there have been some consistent things that have been popping up in my life, consistent actions that I definitely want to take note of. And there have also been these actions that have been more fluid and inconsistent, but there's a lot more of those than there are the small consistent ones. These seem to change as I age, as life changes, as I engage with the world. For example, of late, I've been interested and fascinated with all things plants. I'm loving them. We've been decorating our home with them. We've been naming the plants according to the personalities that they have. We have been learning about their needs. Honestly, I think it's been a process that's really exposed me to myself. A previous interest of mine was finances. This was because I wanted to understand how best to utilize my income. I needed to understand that investing is not just a fancy way of saying gambling. It's actually something responsible and a good thing to do if done responsibly, of course. There's actually a great YouTuber called Steve Antonioni. He's really helpful with helping you understand investments. Obviously, you'd need to apply that information to your own context, but the information he has is really grateful. I'll actually leave a link for him down below. There was a lot of change going on in my life, so I needed to dive deep into that world. I'm kind of a wholehearted kind of guy, so I go all the way in. But now that I have that understanding, have enough of an understanding, I've simply integrated it into my life and have kind of moved on with my interests. One thing that's consistent with me, regardless of the interests that I have, be it plants, be it finance, is that I dive deep into whatever it is that I am researching or getting into. While some things stick and some things fade, they all leave me better than I was before and gradually guide me into the person that I'm going to become next. If we want to discover ourselves, we could look at our actions and see where they're rooted. Alternatively, we could assess our core beliefs to see why we show up the way that we do. Regardless of where we are, we should pause and reassess our values and see if the old ones are still relevant to where we are right now. I think it's great that I'm spending time figuring out who I am again. It seems like it's a cycle, a way of life. And as I go through it, I'm going to continue to give myself space to introspect, to explore, and to discover who I am. Though we start with no control of who we are, I'm sure we can all take one step closer to who we're meant to be.